The Euro Disneyland Resort opened in 1995 to underwhelming numbers. Due to agreements with the government, a second gate had to be built, and so it was. The Walt Disney Studios Park, the second theme park of the resort, opened in 2002. This time, it was the park that was underwhelming. With only 3 rides and some shows, the park lacked a lot of what makes a Disney park, well, a Disney park. Throughout the years, the company has tried to bring new rides, attractions, and shows to develop the park. And while many of these ended up getting built, there are a lot that never made it through the gates of Imagineering. Let's explore some of the never-built attractions at Walt Disney Studios Park.
Oh boy!
Hi everyone and welcome to the Main Street News. If you're new to the channel and are interested, make sure to subscribe and join our community on Twitter and Discord. Links are in the description. We also have a Patreon page if you want to support what we do even more. One of my personal favorite videos on this channel is the Disney MGM Studios Europe, the park that never was. In that video, I explored the original plans for the second gate, which would be so much bigger and ambitious than what was actually built. From a European version of the Great Movie Ride to a huge indoor Hollywood Boulevard, about 2.5 times bigger than the existing one, complete with shops, restaurants, shows, and even a recreation of the famous Hollywood Bowl. The park would have a lot of incredible things. Today, I won't get into those details and attractions, since I've already discussed them in that previous video, which I promise won't disappoint in case you want to watch it. The projects in this video will be the ones proposed after or during the development of the Walt Disney Studios we know today. So let's go into it. The park opened with a lot of expansion possibilities, one of which was to the right, just by the opening day attraction, the Flying Carpets. Toonwood Studios was going to be an extension of the animation courtyard, something like a studio's version of Toontown, where the Toons are the ones in charge. The name itself, turns out, was a nod to the Pinewood Studios near London, where the Star Wars and James Bond movies were made. In this overview concept art, you can see the entrance, which will lead you right into the action. With the already established Aladdin attraction to the right, the rest of the Miniland would expand all around it, with even the Toonwood Hills in the background of it all. Alongside Aladdin, there was going to be a new ride in the form of a family coaster, very similar or even a clone of the Barnstormer found in the Magic Kingdom. This would be called Goofy's Backlot Tour and themed to a very eventful journey through movie sets, with several ups and downs. Another option was Runaway Camera Dolly, which would be very similar to the other one. Going more into the land, you would find the very famous Steamboat Willie, the first appearance of the mouse that started it all. Then there would be a huge building called Animation. There's really not much information about this, so it could be an attraction or a show. Moving on from Toonwood Studios, we can now explore another project, and that is Mickey's Band Coaster. Based on the Mickey short The Band Concert, which was the first time Mickey appeared in full color, guests would enter a big show building and find inside a family coaster, where they would be a part of the story, including the scene where the entire orchestra is caught in a tornado, but continues playing its concert program. It's possible that this was the attraction that guests would find inside that big show building in Toonwood. There are also quite some similarities with Crush's coaster, and there's a reason for that. The coaster, based on the hit Pixar movie Nemo, reused several of the ideas for this attraction, and this would even be built where Crush is today. Let's now move from the right side of the park and go to the opposite one. Here, in the big plaza that's Place des Stars, we would find a new attraction, which I think would easily be a guest favorite. Tokyo, California, Orlando, and Shanghai all have one, and that's Soarin'. Soarin' Around the World is a flight motion simulator in front of a huge IMAX screen, created originally for California Adventure, but it was soon cloned for other parks around the world. In its original version, you would fly over Californian landscapes and landmarks. In Epcot, it received a new film where instead of California, you fly around the world, passing by several countries and landmarks. In Walt Disney Studios, it was going to be found at this corner of the newly revitalized production courtyard, with new facades, theming, and, would you look at that, trees. This was a part of a bigger project that never came to be, which many call the Theater District. But let's leave that for another day. Going back to Animation Courtyard, you would find another idea for a more children-aimed attraction, which was the addition of Mermaid Lagoon, built at Tokyo Disney Sea. A recreation of King Triton's castle would have led guests to 3 underwater-inspired attractions: Flounder's Flying Fish Coaster, a whirlpool, and Jumping Jellyfish, a meet and greet area, and an indoor play area. But that was not all, because a theater show also found on Tokyo Disney Sea would be later added as part of a future expansion. This would be awesome for little kids, as there really isn't a themed playground area in Walt Disney Studios, like the ones that can be found in the Disneyland Park, such as the Pocahontas one in Frontierland. Another major problem this would fix is how it would be a completely covered area, allowing for shelter during the very rainy days, in a different part of the park that's not Studio One. Studio Tram Tour was an opening day attraction, but because it wasn't on rails and was literally movable and adjustable, the attraction was never seen as unchangeable. And when developing the park, Imagineers created 2 more sets that never saw the light of day. One would be based on the George of the Jungle movie, where you would see an animatronic gorilla and toucan playing chess. On the other, you would pass by a medieval set, complete with a castle, banners, and at the back, tents. This is something that came from the original Disney MGM Studios Europe plans, and I talk about them in a video I previously mentioned. As that tram tour would include many more impressive scenes and displays, such as the Gangs of New York set. But it looks like these 2 were the ones that made it through that first process, but came to a halt before construction. The images were released by Disney to the press prior to park opening. I wonder how many other sets were never built nor released. And at last, we arrive at Tower of Terror. Wait, please don't go yet. I know very well that the Hollywood Tower Hotel ended up getting built, but the original plans were much bigger. In Disney's Hollywood Studios in Orlando, Hollywood Tower Hotel is located at the very end of Sunset Boulevard. This is a big street with shops, restaurants, a show venue, and even rock and roller coaster. But that's in its own little area. In Paris, the park should have gotten a similar street to that of Sunset Boulevard, but with our version of the hotel placed at the far end. What ended up getting built plays a major role on one of the bigger problems of that park, and that is that it's just attractions. There's no spaces to explore, and I think that a Sunset Boulevard would make a major difference to how guests look at the Walt Disney Studios park. The location of Tower will be also very odd as a new expansion opens, because Tower will pretty much be in the center of the park, almost acting as a Sleeping Beauty castle. Another land that should soon be added to the list is Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, as that really seems to have been scrapped. But again, another topic for another video. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed exploring these never-built attractions. If you did, make sure to comment which one you'd like to see brought back. And now, as always, thank you to our patrons and to you for watching, and that's a wrap.